And the kids, we all thought they were this tragic little family. They weren't his. We found the DNA records later.
You had a baby in a house when you were 13 years old and we can't find you. By the way, where's the baby buried? I asked that question to her. And she said what happened after she gave birth was they called her mom and they said that she's got to go. I said, how do you know the baby was dead? You're telling me they moved you into a room and they induced labor after you said, I don't want to give up my child.
If what Candace Owens recently hinted at turns out to be accurate, it could completely reshape how people view Erika Kirk's story. For months, one quiet question has been floating around online and behind closed doors. Was Erika ever actually pregnant at all? And if she was, another question naturally follows. Was the pregnancy truly connected to Charlie? Those whispers have started growing louder, especially now that people claim alleged DNA information may be circulating privately behind the scenes. Whether that information is real or not, the speculation has clearly intensified. But before jumping into the deeper claims, many observers started with something much simpler. In today's world, pregnancies are often documented. For public figures and influencers, that documentation is even more common. Social media posts, public appearances, candid photos, and casual moments captured by fans or photographers usually create a timeline that people can follow. With most well-known personalities, it becomes almost impossible for such a major life event to pass without visual evidence somewhere along the way. Yet when people began looking through Erika's public history, they noticed something unusual. There were no clear, candid photos showing her visibly pregnant, no public event appearances where a baby bump was visible, no paparazzi pictures taken during that time period, not even casual, unfiltered social media clips that seem to show the typical changes people expect during pregnancy. For someone whose public identity is so closely tied to being visible online, that absence immediately stood out to viewers.
Not because I was embarrassed, not because I didn't want anyone. Yes, we did keep it very private, but it's because it was a moment very sacred. I was growing a human inside of me, my baby. The world that Charlie and I live in is very toxic at times.
Erika has built a reputation around sharing personal moments with the public. She has filmed herself on stage at events, recorded travel moments on flights, and posted videos from conferences and speaking engagements. Her audience has seen emotional moments, stressful moments, and even difficult personal experiences play out in front of the camera. Because of that openness, some followers began wondering why such a major life event appeared to have so little public documentation. The contrast became even more noticeable after Charlie's passing. During that extremely emotional time, Erika did not hesitate to document her grief publicly. She recorded moments that many people might have chosen to keep private. Viewers saw raw emotions unfold in real time through videos and posts that quickly circulated online. The openness during that painful chapter made some observers question the earlier period even more. This is where the debate began to grow. If privacy had been the guiding principle during the pregnancy period, some people asked why that same level of privacy did not apply during the period of grief that followed. If one part of life was treated as deeply personal, why did another part become so public so quickly? For critics and supporters alike, that contrast became one of the most discussed elements of the situation. Supporters of Erika argue that people handle different life events in different ways. Some individuals choose to protect certain chapters of their lives while being open about others. Emotional responses can shift dramatically depending on circumstances, and public figures often face complicated decisions about what to share and what to keep private. From that perspective, they believe the difference in how those moments were documented should not automatically lead to assumptions. However, skeptics believe the lack of visual documentation still raises legitimate questions. Because Erika's public
I love you. I love you. God bless you.
brand has always been closely tied to her personal life, followers are used to seeing major milestones shared online. Weddings, events, travel, and public appearances have all been widely documented over time. That history is what made the absence of pregnancy images stand out to some viewers. The conversation became even more intense when people began examining Erika's online identity more closely. Her social media presence is strongly tied to her marriage and public persona. In fact, her handles prominently feature the name Mrs. Erika Kirk, emphasizing how central that identity is to her brand and public image. Then, one specific moment started circulating among viewers. At one point, ultrasound footage appeared online. People watching the clip began looking closely at the details on the screen, as internet audiences often do when analyzing viral content. That is when some viewers claimed they noticed something unusual about the name displayed on the ultrasound image. Instead of showing the last name Kirk, the name visible in the footage appeared to be Erika's maiden name, Erika Franza. That small detail quickly became a major talking point across discussion threads and social media conversations. Some people argued that medical records sometimes use different naming formats depending on the timing of paperwork or identification documents. Others believed it raised additional questions that deserved clarification. As often happens online, the debate quickly split into different camps. One group believes the detail could have a perfectly simple explanation tied to paperwork or timing. Another group believes the discrepancy might point to a larger story that has not yet been fully explained publicly. Right now, what exists are questions, observations, and a growing online conversation. Supporters continue defending Erika and urging people not to jump to conclusions without verified information. Critics, meanwhile, believe the inconsistencies they see deserve further explanation.
Her mom, Loretta Francevy.
Yeah, that's Erika Kirk getting an ultrasound. There's been a lot of talk about whether or not that woman has really ever been pregnant. Now, I've been pregnant 5 times. The first was a miscarriage, gave birth to 4. So you bet your ass I zoomed in on that ultrasound screen. And this is a close-up of the screen, which led me to do a deep dive into the stages of pregnancy, which I've done, back in the day when I was pregnant, but it's been a while. It's hard to see a lot of detail in that picture. Based on her stomach size and the size of what we can see, it would be safe to presume this is the viability ultrasound, that they determine if there's a heartbeat, which they can do as early as 6 weeks. And this is what it looks like at 6 weeks, and this is what it looks like at 8 weeks. Wanted to compare that to her picture, but I don't have the technology to zoom in on it. I wasted 2 hours, except I learned that at 9 weeks they hiccup. I didn't know.
What is clear is that the discussion has only intensified since Candace Owens hinted at new information possibly surfacing. Whether those hints eventually lead to confirmed facts or fade away like many internet rumors remains to be seen. But the combination of missing public documentation, conflicting interpretations, and viral speculation has created a situation where more people are paying attention than ever before. Some people say the ultrasound name issue could simply come down to paperwork, timing, or routine administrative details. That is definitely possible. Hospitals often process documents under older records or maiden names depending on how files were originally created. But critics still point out that Erika's entire public identity revolves around being Mrs. Erika Kirk. Because of that, some viewers felt it looked inconsistent to see a different name attached to something as significant as an ultrasound record. Another small detail that people began discussing was who actually attended that medical visit. According to accounts shared online, Charlie was not present during that ultrasound appointment.
I know we had a birth plan, and the only thing that went to plan on that birth plan was that we had a child.
That's right.
Everything else
We had a great
went out the window.
We had a great OB. May he rest in peace. Terrible story.
Instead, Erika reportedly went to the hospital with her mother, Lori. On its own, that might not mean much. Families support each other in different ways during medical visits all the time. But when people began connecting this moment with the earlier absence of visible pregnancy photos, it added another layer to the ongoing conversation. For some observers, the issue is not one single detail, but the collection of small inconsistencies they believe they are seeing. When there are limited public images or records showing a pregnancy timeline, every small piece of information tends to receive extra attention. Even minor differences can spark major debate once the internet begins analyzing them closely. Another topic that resurfaced during these discussions involved moments where Erika seemed unsure about certain personal dates. Critics pointed to clips where she struggled to recall her wedding anniversary or her children's birthday during public conversations. Supporters argue that memory slips can happen to anyone, especially during stressful periods or fast-paced interviews. Still, those moments were quickly circulated online and added to the growing list of things people were analyzing. There was also a podcast episode from Charlie's show that viewers revisited. During that conversation, Erika mentioned that her obstetrician had passed away. Some listeners later returned to that clip and began discussing it again as speculation surrounding the pregnancy timeline increased. On its own, the comment might have seemed like a passing detail. But once the internet begins connecting dots, even small remarks can become part of a much larger narrative. Then the conversation took another unexpected turn when Candace Owens recently claimed that Erika may not have been where she originally said she was on the day Charlie was shot. According to Erika's earlier statement, she said she had been at the hospital with her mother receiving treatment that day. That explanation had been widely repeated during early reporting.
I cannot get a single person to confirm if they saw Erika, who's apparently out and about. I then thought, wouldn't it make sense? She screams in the middle of a parking lot. She screams in the middle of a doctor's office. Everybody kind of knows where they were when Charlie got shot. Okay, if this doctor's office had people in it, there's going to be someone who said, hey, I heard a giant scream at my doctor's office.
Reports about the timeline surrounding the incident. However, Candace later suggested that sources close to the situation believed Erika might have been somewhere else entirely. According to those claims, she may have been at a hotel suite located in Fort Huachuca. These statements quickly circulated across social media, although they remain claims that have not been independently verified. As often happens with high-profile controversies, different sides now present very different versions of the timeline. At the time the situation first unfolded, another figure named Andrew Colbert was reportedly trying to establish a clear timeline for Erika's whereabouts. He claimed that Erika had dinner with Charlie the night before everything happened. In addition to that statement, a photo was shared that appeared to show Erika's hand while she was with her children. The image was presented as evidence that she had been with the kids early that morning. According to the information shared at the time, the photo showed her walking with the children at around 8:33 a.m. Pacific time on September 9th before heading into the office. Supporters pointed to this as proof that Erika had been going about a normal morning routine. For a while, that image circulated as a key piece of context supporting the timeline presented publicly. But more recently, new claims have begun circulating online suggesting that Erika may not have been home the night before Charlie's shooting. According to these newer allegations, she may have been spending time with a woman named Tracy Martin. Tracy is someone who has reportedly known Erika for more than a decade and was part of her life long before Erika met Charlie. If those claims were ever proven true, critics argue it would completely change how people interpret the timeline. Because if Erika was not with her mother during that period, then the natural question becomes why that
story, but he also had to include the part where he claims that he saw Erika Kirk the night before, also on Fort Huachuca at Candlewood Inn and Suite.
Explanation was given publicly in the first place. And if she was spending time with Tracy instead, some observers are asking what exactly that relationship looked like. Over the years, many photos have circulated showing Erika and Tracy spending time together. Observers point to shared vacations, family gatherings, and holiday celebrations where both women appeared together. Tracy's daughter, McKenna, has also been described in some reports as someone who worked closely with Erika and may have served as a personal assistant. To some people reviewing those photos and connections, the relationship simply looks like a long-standing friendship between families who spent a lot of time together. Others believe the closeness appears deeper than that. As with many internet debates, interpretations vary widely depending on who is looking at the same images and information. This is where the speculation has begun to intensify again. Some online theories now suggest that Erika may not have carried the children herself and instead may have relied on a surrogate. Surrogacy is a completely legitimate and widely used option for many families today, but critics claim the lack of visible pregnancy documentation keeps fueling questions about whether that might have happened here. Others have taken the speculation even further by suggesting that the children could biologically belong to someone within Erika's close circle of friends or associates. These claims remain unproven, but they continue spreading through online discussion threads where people analyze every available detail. Supporters strongly push back against these theories, arguing that internet speculation often spirals far beyond what facts actually support. They point out that many families choose privacy during pregnancy, and that absence of photos alone cannot prove anything. They also argue that speculation about children and family matters should be approached with caution. Critics, however, believe the combination of missing pregnancy photos, the ultrasound name discrepancy, and the timeline questions continues to raise legitimate curiosity.
Remember, Tracy Martin is Erika's best friend for over 15 years. How close are Erika and Tracy? They've done everything together. Tracy says from Romanian Angels. Erika modeled for her.
From their perspective, each unanswered detail adds another piece to a puzzle that people are trying to understand. If the rumors about surrogacy or outside biological connections were ever confirmed, supporters of that theory say it would explain several of the inconsistencies people believe they see. It could explain why pregnancy images were never widely shared. It could clarify the different name appearing on medical footage, and it might explain why certain parts of the narrative seem tightly controlled. At the same time, without verified evidence, these remain theories circulating within online discussions. For now, the situation sits in a strange place between confirmed facts and growing speculation. But one thing is certain: the more questions that remain unanswered, the more attention the story continues to attract. The question many people are now asking is simple but powerful. Did Charlie truly understand everything happening around him, or was he presented with a version of events that looked different from reality? For a long time, these discussions stayed mostly in the background. People speculated quietly online, shared theories in private chats, and moved on. But recently, the conversation took a much sharper turn when a new name started appearing in the middle of the story: Tyler Bauer. Once that name entered the discussion, the tone of the speculation changed. Before, most of the rumors revolved around secrecy, privacy, or the possibility of surrogacy. Now, according to certain online claims, the focus has shifted towards something even more sensitive: the question of paternity. Some sources circulating online are now suggesting that Tyler Bauer could potentially be the biological father of Erika's children. On the surface, that sounds like an extreme claim. But for people closely following the timeline, they believe the theory becomes more complicated once certain details are placed side by side.
It's shocking that Tracy's daughter is actually Erika's assistant. I'll put an allegedly there because we've got to confirm that information. But
according to reports that have
source
circulated in recent discussions, the final period of Charlie and Erika's marriage may not have been as stable as it once appeared publicly. Individuals familiar with the situation have claimed that the relationship had become strained toward the end. Allegedly, tensions between them had been growing, and the possibility of a separation was no longer something distant or hypothetical. Instead, some observers believe it may have been moving closer to reality. There have been claims that during that final period, Charlie was no longer wearing his wedding ring. Other reports suggested he had been sleeping on the couch instead of in the same bedroom. Some accounts also mentioned that the couple did not share a goodbye moment the day before the incident that would later change everything. On their own, any one of these details might seem minor, but when placed together, they paint a picture that some people believe suggests a relationship under serious strain. Another piece of the story that continues to spark debate is a handwritten note that Charlie reportedly left for Erika. The letter was eventually shared publicly, which immediately drew attention online. Critics began asking why such a deeply personal message was released for everyone to examine. When private letters become public, they naturally invite intense scrutiny, and this one was no exception. Observers quickly analyzed the message, pointing out that it contained strong expressions of love and praise directed toward Erika. The tone appeared emotional and supportive, which led some viewers to question whether it fully matched the reports of tension that others had described in the relationship. Because of that contrast, some critics began raising questions about the context surrounding the note and why it was made public in the first place. There were also claims from certain voices online suggesting the note might not reflect the full picture of what was happening between the couple at that time. A few critics even speculated about whether the message was completely authentic, though those claims remain unverified. Without official confirmation,
Tyler was there.
Tyler Boyer.
Yes, he was there with his wife, his beautiful wife, and his kids. And he came up to me afterwards and he was like, hey, we have this organization and we're starting in Arizona. Would love for you to be a part of it. And I said, thank you for all the information, but I am moving to Manhattan. And I was like, stay in touch. And
those discussions remain part of the wider speculation that continues circulating. Another detail that has kept the conversation active involves Erika's reported location during the time of the shooting. Earlier explanations indicated she had been receiving treatment at a hospital alongside her mother. However, more recent claims from other sources suggest she may have been at a resort instead. Those claims have not been independently confirmed, but they have added another layer of uncertainty to the timeline people are trying to piece together. If the marriage truly was experiencing serious problems during that period, some observers believe it naturally leads to additional questions. What exactly had been discovered in the final days before everything changed? Was there new information that created tension between the couple? And if so, what might that information have been? This is where the name Tyler Bauer returns to the center of the speculation. According to some reports circulating online, Tyler was the person who originally introduced Erika and Charlie years earlier. That connection alone would normally be unremarkable. But additional rumors have suggested that Erika and Tyler may have had a relationship at some point before Charlie entered the picture. None of those claims have been confirmed, but they continue to circulate widely in discussion threads. Some observers believe that if Erika and Tyler remain close over the years, it could explain why his name keeps resurfacing in conversations about the situation. When long-term connections exist between people, internet investigators often try to connect every detail. The theory becomes even more intense when people begin combining it with the earlier rumors about surrogacy and paternity. If someone were to believe the online claims, the speculation suggests that questions about biological parentage may have been raised privately at some point. That idea has fueled discussions suggesting that DNA testing might exist somewhere behind the scenes. If such a scenario were ever confirmed, supporters of that theory argue it would dramatically change how the entire situation is viewed. Questions about family relationships can carry enormous emotional weight, and any uncertainty surrounding them could potentially reshape how people interpret past events. However, it is extremely important to emphasize that these claims remain unproven and are currently part of ongoing internet speculation. At the center of the current discussion is the possibility that some form of DNA information may exist, but has not been publicly released. So far, no confirmed report has been made available to the public. Without verified documents, everything being discussed remains in the category of rumors and online claims, rather than established fact. Still, the speculation continues because of hints dropped during recent commentary. In her latest series titled Bride of Charlie, Candace Owens has suggested that she may have access to information that could significantly impact the story. She has implied that a major reveal could potentially settle many of the questions people have been debating for months. According to those following the situation closely, Candace has hinted that she may be preparing what she described as a decisive move that could change how the public understands the entire timeline. Exactly what that move involves has not been confirmed. Some believe it could involve documents, while others speculate it might relate to evidence that has not yet been shared publicly. For now, though, the most important point remains that none of these claims have been officially verified. The story currently exists as a mixture of confirmed events, personal accounts, and online speculation that continues evolving as new voices enter the discussion. But one thing is certain, the appearance of Tyler Bauer's name has shifted the tone of the conversation dramatically. What began as quiet questions about privacy and missing documentation has now transformed into a much larger debate involving timelines, relationships, and the possibility of hidden information that has yet to be revealed. For a long time, Erika's public image was built around the idea of being the perfect, devoted partner. Supporters saw her as someone who stood firmly beside Charlie through everything, presenting a polished and picture-perfect life to the outside world. In interviews, social posts, and public appearances, that image appeared consistent. But as the months have passed and more conversations have unfolded online, people have begun looking back at the timeline with fresh eyes. They are revisiting old moments, rewatching clips, and comparing different pieces of information to see whether the public version of the story truly matches what may have been happening behind the scenes. One name that continues to surface during these discussions is Tyler Bauer. His name has appeared at several different points connected to Erika and Charlie's relationship story. According to various reports and online conversations, Tyler was present before Erika and Charlie ever met. Later, he appeared again during the years when their relationship was developing. Now his name is appearing again in conversations surrounding the difficult period that many believe unfolded toward the end of their marriage. Because of that repeated presence, many observers say it is only natural that people are paying attention to the pattern. When the same individual appears at multiple stages of a personal story like this, curiosity tends to grow. Some people believe these connections could simply reflect long-standing friendships and overlapping social circles. After all, people often introduce friends to other friends, and social networks can remain connected for years. But others believe the repeated appearances of Tyler's name might suggest something more complicated within the broader timeline. At the moment, none of these possibilities have been confirmed publicly. Still, the discussion continues because patterns, real or perceived, often lead people to ask deeper questions. When viewers see the same name linked to several major moments in a relationship's history, it naturally invites closer scrutiny. Supporters of Erika say the growing speculation is unfair and built largely on incomplete information. From their perspective, friendships and introductions between people are normal parts of life, and the internet often turns ordinary connections into dramatic theories. They believe much of the discussion circulating online right now is based on assumptions rather than verified facts. Critics, however, believe the pattern of connections deserves a closer look. They argue that when the same details continue resurfacing across different stages of a story, it becomes difficult for observers to simply ignore them. In their view, asking questions about those connections is not necessarily an accusation, but rather an attempt to understand how the pieces of the timeline fit together. Another point that continues to fuel debate involves Erika's reported whereabouts during the final hours before the incident involving Charlie. Early explanations suggested she had been receiving treatment at a hospital alongside her mother. That timeline was widely repeated and accepted at the time, becoming part of the narrative people believed explained where she had been during that period. However, later claims from other voices suggested she may have been somewhere else entirely that night. According to those claims, Erika might have been spending time with Tracy Martin instead. Tracy is someone who has reportedly been part of Erika's life for many years, appearing in photos from vacations, family gatherings, and holidays over the course of a long friendship. Because of that long history, Tracy's name has become another element of the wider conversation. Observers reviewing old images and posts have pointed out that the two women appeared frequently together in different settings. Some of those photos show group trips, others show celebrations or casual moments shared among friends. To some viewers, these images simply show a close friendship between two families who spent time together over the years. To others, the closeness appears deeper than what they might expect from an ordinary friendship. As is often the case with internet speculation, the same set of photos can be interpreted in very different ways, depending on who is looking at them. And that difference in interpretation is exactly what has kept the discussion alive. Supporters say it is dangerous to jump to conclusions based solely on photos or social media posts. They point out that close friendships can easily be misinterpreted by people who are trying to connect dots that may not actually be connected. Critics, on the other hand, say the images raise natural questions when placed alongside other parts of the timeline that already feel unclear. They believe the repeated presence of Tracy in key moments of Erika's life is something that deserves explanation rather than dismissal. The speculation becomes even more intense when certain theories begin overlapping. Some online discussions have suggested that Tracy might have played a larger role in Erika's life than previously understood. A few theories even claim Tracy may have been connected to the surrogacy rumors that have been circulating in some corners of the internet. Other theories go further and suggest there may have been a private relationship between Erika and Tracy that the public never fully understood. Supporters strongly reject those claims, arguing that internet speculation can quickly drift far away from reality when people begin building stories based on assumptions rather than evidence. They emphasize that friendships, shared vacations, and family gatherings do not automatically mean something more complicated is happening behind the scenes. In their view, many of these theories reflect the internet's tendency to fill gaps in information with dramatic explanations. Still, the theories continue circulating because many observers believe the timeline surrounding several events remains unclear. When questions remain unanswered, speculation often grows rather than fades. That dynamic has played out repeatedly across social media platforms where thousands of users discuss the story daily. And that is really where the situation stands right now. There are confirmed facts that have been publicly documented. There are personal statements that have been shared by people involved in the story. And then there are a growing number of online theories attempting to fill in the spaces between those confirmed details. Until additional verified information becomes available, much of what people are discussing will remain speculation rather than established reality. That has not stopped the conversation from growing louder, though. Every time a new claim appears or an old detail resurfaces, the debate starts all over again. Some observers believe the unanswered questions could eventually lead to major revelations that change how the entire story is understood. Others believe the truth may turn out to be far simpler than the internet currently imagines. Both possibilities remain open while people continue examining every available piece of information. Right now, the questions that keep appearing across social media are the same ones being discussed in countless comment sections and forums. Why was Erika reportedly away from home during the night before the incident involving Charlie? Was she truly with Tracy during that time, as some claims suggest? Or is Tracy's name being pulled into the conversation without clear evidence? And what about the ongoing rumors connecting Tracy to the surrogacy theories that have circulated online? Are those claims based on any real information, or are they simply another example of speculation spreading faster than facts? These questions have become the center of the discussion. Some people believe the answers could dramatically reshape how the entire situation is understood. Others believe the story may eventually settle once clearer information replaces the rumors currently circulating online. For now, though, the debate continues. Each new detail sparks another round of conversation as people attempt to understand the complicated timeline that has unfolded around Erika, Charlie, and the individuals connected to their lives. So now we want to hear from you. What do you think about everything that has been discussed? Do you believe the patterns people are pointing out suggest something meaningful? Or do you think the internet may be connecting dots that do not actually form a complete picture? Drop your thoughts down in the comments and let everyone know how you see this situation. Conversations like this often reveal different perspectives, and it is interesting to see how people interpret the same information in completely different ways. If you found this breakdown helpful or thought-provoking, make sure to hit the like button so more people can discover the discussion. Subscribe as well if you want to stay updated on future developments, because this story is still evolving and new details may continue to appear. You can also share this video with others who have been following the situation so they can join the conversation too. The more perspectives we hear, the more complete the discussion becomes. Thanks for watching, and make sure to check out the next video, because as this story keeps unfolding, the details surrounding it may become even more surprising. See you on the next one.